Judah got that war cry. Benjamin got that war cry. Levi got that war cry. Issachar got that war cry. Naphtali ass. You can't top that. Mosai, you can't stop that. Your arms are not long enough to boss the God, so don't fight back. Israel, repentant. Keeping the laws, no sinning. Teaching the wild what's a part of her. So some Proverbs 31:15. We on the street, we caught them loud. Ain't sparing none, no trembling.
Is it lawful to have unfruitful something? But it's basically talking about sex on the Sabbath. Is it sin to have sex on the Lord's Sabbath day? All right, so let's get some understanding of that. Let's read the first scripture that's pulled, Isaiah 58:13. Let's read that, and then we'll come back.
Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words.
All right, so reading that, you would think that not doing thy own pleasure, it would go into sex and things like that, but it's not actually talking about that. We'll come back to it so you can get the understanding, but it's actually it's only 4 times that you cannot have sex in the Bible. So actually, we're going to extend it to 5, because if you ain't got a husband, you shouldn't be having sex. So it's 5 times. Let's go to one of the first ones here. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Yes, sir.
1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof he wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication.
So the reason Paul said it's not good for a man to touch a woman is because you can devote all your time to the Lord. You don't have to worry about pleasing your wife or her pleasing you. Like Paul did, he didn't marry. All his time was devoted to traveling all across the eastern side of the Greek countries, raising up the 12 tribes that was scattered. But all men cannot contain themselves like Paul did, like Christ did. Read verse 2.
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication.
So if you cannot contain yourself, you don't have that kind of spirit in you like they did. You can bring your body under subjection, and you don't want to be in the midst of sin or fornication. Do what?
Let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
There's one wife to every man, there's one husband to every woman. Read on.
Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence.
That is talking about sex and affection. Read on.
And likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife have not power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife.
So Paul is letting you know, some of you brothers that do not have a wife, that are maybe in the process of proving them in the future, your body's not your own. When your wife wants some, you got to give it to her. Same thing with you sisters. When your husband wants some, maybe you got to, whatever you might make up to not do what he wants you to do, your body's not your own. Now, with that understanding, it also says in Peter that you dwell with them according to knowledge. So they got a daggone headache and a broke ass arm, and you said, hey, do benevolence, woman, let's go. No, use some sense, because them still the daughters of God. It was his kids before it was your wife. You got to answer to him for how you treat them. So, go to verse 5 now.
Verse 5. Defraud ye not one the other.
So he says, defraud you, don't hold back sex from each other. Read on.
Except it be with consent for a time.
So that's the first reason. It says, except it be with consent. Both of y'all agree on this. Okay, you got a headache. You know this happens often. Okay, all right, I can wait. Except it be with consent. Read on.
That ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer.
Also fasting and prayer. So that's the one time you can, when you're having, when you're fasting. You can't have sex when you're fasting. And when we go back to Isaiah 58, we'll tie it in. You'll understand why. Okay, so fasting and prayer, read on.
And come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency.
Incontinency. So that means, so the thought of adultery don't creep into your mind. You don't need to look nowhere else because you're getting it at home. You don't need to look nowhere else because your husband's giving you due benevolence. When you are giving due benevolence to each other, you still look outside of that, you wicked as hell. It's judgment waiting on you. So that's the first time right there. Fasting is the first. Let's go to the other one here. Let's go to Leviticus 12.
Leviticus chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman have conceived seed and born a man child.
So she has a man child, a little boy. Read on.
Then shall she be unclean 7 days, according to the days of the separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. And in the 8th day the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 3 and 30 days.
3 and 30 days. So that's 33 days on top of the 7 days that it was already announced. So that's 40 days that she is considered untouchable to the Most High. After having a young son, a boy, 40 days for a son.
Right.
No sex. Read on.
She shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled.
Now, you may not understand, well, if you can't have sex for 40 days, well, then that means she can't keep the Sabbath day, right? Let's show you the reason why he said that real quick. Leviticus 15, and let's read verse 31.
Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 31. Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, that they die not in their uncleanness when they defile my tabernacle that is among them.
So that's why she could not come into the sanctuary at that time, is because she could not defile the Lord's temple, the Lord's sanctuary, the tabernacle. Is the temple still standing, brothers?
No.
No. So that being put apart for 40 days not coming is no longer standing because there's no temple. Can you touch them? Because now does that mean that the 40 days is gone, that you cannot touch them? No. Because the only reason they couldn't come in was because it was a temple. So that part is gone, but the 40 days still stands. Back in Leviticus 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Leviticus 12. Read verse 4 and 5.
Yes, sir. Leviticus chapter 12 and verse 4. And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 3 and 30 days. She shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled.
And when we go back to Leviticus 15, I'll show you why the coming to the sanctuary is done away with, but not the 40 days. It'll make perfect sense. Precept upon precept. Read on.
Verse 5. But if she bear a maid child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation.
So that's 14 days now. Read on.
And she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 66 days.
So now he added a week on, so that's 14 days, and then it's 66 days, which give us 80 days. That if a sister has a young daughter, she cannot have sex for 80 days. A young boy is 40 days, the Most High doubled it, 80 days for a sister. Okay, so that's the second time right there, right? So let's go to this third one here. Go to Leviticus 15 now. Leviticus 15 and verse 19.
Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 19. And if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood.
The issue in her flesh be blood. It's going to explain what it's talking about. Read on.
She shall be put apart 7 days. And whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the even.
Read on.
And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean.
She shall be unclean for that, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Brothers, quick question. If a sister has twins, one is a male, one is a female, how long does she have to wait?
What a microphone.
Yeah. Use the microphone. Use the
microphone.
Use the microphone.
80 days.
Why?
Because the girl outsees the boy.
Right. In those 80 days, they begin 40 days. That completes the man. The 80 days completes the woman.
Right. Exactly right.
All right.
So what those are called fraternal twins, right?
Right.
So it's 80 days. All right. So let's talk about issuing her flesh. Jump down to verse 24. We can find out what that is.
Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 24. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days. And all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean.
Read 24. So it says the flowers be upon him. That is talking about that time of the month. Menstrual cycle is what they call it. Cannot lie with her during that time. Read verse 25. Get some understanding on that too. Verse 25.
And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it run beyond the time of her separation.
What was the normal time for the separation that we read up earlier? What was the time? The time frame. Gilead, stand up, microphone.
7 days.
7 days. So the Lord is telling you if it runs outside of that time, it goes a little longer than normal. Out of that 7 days. Read on.
All the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation. She shall be unclean.
You gotta wait another 7 days is what the Lord is telling you. No matter if it stops after the 3rd day or the 2nd day or it's 1 day extra, it goes 8 days and it stops, okay, we good. No, the 7 days starts back over again is what the Lord is telling you. Some of you brothers that didn't know that, now you know. It starts over. So you better make sure y'all eating right. If it's got anything to do with it. Let's get the 4th one here. Go to Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23, and we're going to start at verse 26.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 26. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
So that 4th time here is the day of atonement, because you are in the process of afflicting your soul. What does it mean to afflict your soul, brothers? Anybody got a precept for that? What does it mean? What does God mean to afflict your soul? All right. Brother Yuri, got a precept up here for it. So a day of atonement. What do we do on the day of atonement? Brothers, what do? We fast. So what does it mean to afflict your soul? Brother Yuri.
Jonah chapter 2 verse 7.
Jonah 2 and 7. Let's go to it. 3 and 7. Okay.
Jonah chapter 3 and verse 7. And he caused it to be proclaimed and published through Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles, saying, Let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock taste anything. Let them not feed nor drink water.
So let them not feed nor drink water. That is what is called to be afflicting your soul in fasting. Go ahead with the Ezra one first. We're going to read it in the Apocrypha also.
Yes, sir.
Ezra.
Ezra chapter 8 and verse 21. Then I proclaimed a fast.
A what?
A fast there at the river of Ahava, that we might afflict ourselves before our God.
So that's what it means to afflict yourself, is to fast from food and from water. Now give me the one in Sirach, Officer Gad.
Sirach.
This is Ecclesiasticus for you new brothers in the Apocrypha, new sisters.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 21.
30 verse 21.
The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame.
So that's why God said you are afflicting your soul, because He knows what's most important for it to survive in the fleshly manner is food and water. That's the way He designed it. So when you afflict your soul, you fast and deny yourself water and food. Yeah, Brother Judah.
29 and 21, sorry.
29, 21.
29, 21.
29, 21. All right, go back to Leviticus 23 now.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 27. Also on the 10th day of this month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
When you afflict yourself on the Day of Atonement, you don't eat anything, you don't drink anything. No sex either. You don't.
Verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whatsoever so it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever so it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest. And ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
So that fourth reason there is the Day of Atonement. Here. So let's get the fifth reason. Hebrews 13 and 4. You cannot have sex.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all.
What is?
Marriage is honorable in all.
Marriage is between a man and a woman. That is honorable. And in that marriage, read on.
And the bed undefiled.
What they do in that bed, which would be have sex, it is undefiled. A man and a woman that is a husband and wife in a marriage. So if you are not married, read on.
But whoremongers,
you are a whoremonger if you're having sex outside of marriage. And that's for you men. Deuteronomy 23:17, the Lord calls you a whore if you're a woman having sex outside of marriage. Read on.
But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge.
So that's the 5 reasons, or 5 times you cannot have sex. Let's go back to Isaiah 58 and see what that's talking about. And we're going to start where we left off. We're going to read that, then we're going to jump. Isaiah 58 and verse 13.
Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 13. Take away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own word.
Nor speaking thy own words. So let's find out what was going on before that. You cannot isolate scriptures. That's why you get confused. Go back up and let's read verse 3.
Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 3. Wherefore have we fasted, say they.
So the topic of discussion is talking about what, brothers? Fasting. Read on.
And thou seest not. Wherefore have we afflicted our soul, and thou takest no knowledge. Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labor.
Hold on, they was finding pleasure and doing what?
And exact all your labor.
What does that mean, you exact all your labors? When you labor, after you've done laboring, what do you get in return now? When you do all your labors, what do you get in return? You do it every day. Brother Amir.
Check. You get rewarded, you get paid.
You get paid. You get money. So what they was doing here is they wasn't truly fasting. They was worried about getting money. They wasn't afflicting their souls. They was out, hey, you owe me money? You owe me this? You owe me that? Pay me my money. Exacting, what does it say right there? Exact all your labors. Read on. They were doing that. Read on.
Behold, ye fast for strife.
They was arguing. They was out here fasting and walking around arguing. They ain't got nothing better to do. Read on.
And debate, and to smite with the fist of the wickedness.
So they was doing what?
And to smite with the fist of the wickedness.
They was around here fasting and fighting. Read on.
Ye shall not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high.
That's going back to the strife, walking around arguing. Read on.
Is it such a fast that I have chosen?
Did God say this is how you're supposed to fast? No. The fast is you're supposed to afflict your soul. Focus on Him. Read on.
A day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast and an acceptable day to the Lord? Is not this the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of the wickedness?
So now he's giving you this is how you're supposed to fast. To loose the bands of wickedness is when you for an example here, you are going through some type of spirit that's on you. What did Christ tell us to do when we got certain spirits on us? We do what, brothers? Fast and pray. That's how you undo the bands of wickedness. You should be meditating on whatever you're doing and asking the Lord to remove this spirit from me, to undo the bands of wickedness that are holding you back. Read on.
Is not this the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of wickedness? To undo the heavy burdens? And to let the oppressed go free? That ye break every yoke?
Read on.
Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry? And that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house?
So how do we feed now the hungry? Who's the hungry now that we are supposed to be feeding now out here? Let's see. Brother Jehaziel, who are we feeding and how do we feed them?
Our lost brothers and sisters in the streets, and we feed them through our teachings on...
Exactly right. That's why Christ asked Peter, he said, do you love me? He said, Lord, thou knowest me. Well, then feed my sheep. He wasn't talking about start a food line and bring everybody in, because we read in Tobit, he said, those who are mindful of the Lord, go get them. So we feed them through the knowledge and understanding of who they are. Read on.
When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him.
The naked means sin. Read on.
And that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh.
Don't act like you don't see him. Turning the other head. That's it on that. And so now going back to verse 13 now, we understand this is what they was doing in the midst of when they were supposed to be afflicting their soul on the Sabbath day. Fasting. But they was doing all manner of other stuff. So the 5 reasons that you cannot have sex would be for fasting, like we read in Corinthians, whether it be if she has born a man child or a maid child, if it be that time of the month, if it be the Day of Atonement, or if you're not married. Those are the 5 reasons you can't have sex. Other than that, be fruitful and multiply as the Lord commanded, if that's your desire.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel, Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this and join IUIC channel to get your latest updates on all our YouTube channels. Shalom.